back up all plays in your area, slide on all close plays except at first. Really don't like guys sliding at first. I know it looks good and stuff like that, but for physical hustle, running through the base is a lot quicker. And you want to hit the front of the base, not the top of the base. And then when you get past the base, you want to break down and look to your right. Because if the ball's overthrown or something, you're going to see it hit the fence out there, and you go to second base, you'll be ready to run to second. The worst thing you want to do is run to first base and then run through first base and sprint out to. I had a kid that almost went to the right field foul pole a couple times. I was like, "What are you doing? What if the ball's overthrown or something? You're going to be out in right field." Right field. So yeah, we teach that, and then sprint on and off the field every time, like we talked about that drill, the in and out drill we did. Super good. Mental hustle. Be aware of every situation. Be aware of every situation. You're mentally ready before the pitch. You know there's guys at first and second, and there's one out. If a ball, you're playing shortstop, if a ball hits your left, you're going to grab the ball and flip it to the second baseman for a double play, in the inning double play. If it hits your right, super far in the sixth hole to the right, you're talking to your third baseman before the pitch saying, hey, if I got to lay out to the right, I'm throwing to you for the force. But if it's to the right and you grab it, you just pivot and throw to second base for the double play. So you have to understand and be aware of every situation. Tune into each pitch. If you're a middle infield, you better be looking at the catcher's call. You better know what the catcher's calling. If it's a breaking ball, location, you can cheat step towards the spot where you think that ball is going to go. And it can actually help you out a lot. We won the state championship because of that. My second baseman knew what pitch was coming. There was one out. Guys at first and third, we're up 3, I think it was 3-2 or 4-2. And one out in the bottom of the seventh inning. And we were 2 outs away from winning the state championship, and we were 1 home run away from losing the state championship. And this guy hit a rocket up the middle, about a 2-hopper, and it was on turf. And my second baseman had cheat stepped toward the middle of the field before the pitch. So when he hustled over and got the ball, he was standing on second base. He caught the ball, touched the base, threw to first base, game over, state championship, dog pile. So I know that works if you really tune into each pitch and you're aware of every situation. Work to help control the game tempo. Hey, if a pitcher's dominating, mental hustle is you call time, slow him down a little bit. Ask the umpire for time right when he's getting ready to get in his windup. It bugs a guy. It bugs pitchers. But it gets you back in control of the at-bat. Instead of letting him just go 0-1, 0-2, breaking ball, trying to get you to chase, and then fastball, strike 3, you're slowing them down, okay? Acknowledge teammates' performance. That is mental hustle. There's nothing better than having teammates that pick each other up. A guy lays down a sacrifice bunt and moves the guy from second to third with 1 out, after the sack, 1 out. He comes back to the dugout after sacrificing himself. Everybody in the dugout's right at the mouth of the dugout, patting him on the back, patting him on the helmet, making noise, saying, "Great job, man! Way to be a team player! Way to get it done for us." That's what wins that's what builds winning programs, is having kids in it for the other kids and not for themselves. Contribute to a team's demeanor. If we're known as a hustling team and we're a tough-nosed team and we're going to play gritty defense and we're going to pitch the heck out of the ball and we're going to hit balls to right field and take balls the other way in the gaps and stuff like that, then that's what you have to act like. You have to follow through with that. You're part of the team. Contribute to the demeanor of the team. Project poise and aggressiveness. You have a team beat when teams don't have poise. They're throwing their hands up in the middle of the inning like, gosh, pitcher can't throw a strike. Our pitcher can't throw a strike. Or you made an error, so you hang your head and you pout. We know we got them beat right away because our guys will never show that. And that's why I want you to understand, when you teach this every single day, you put guys in situations in practice where poise is tempted. Like you'll put guys in practice and there might be a ball right down the middle on a bunt drill, and the guy will take the bunt and I'll call ball. And the pitcher's like, oh, you can see he's pissed because he threw a strike and he knew he threw a strike, but I called a ball. Or there'll be a play when we're doing scrimmage stuff where the guy's obviously out at first base and I'll be like, safe, like that, make the call really loud and I'll make it really boisterous. And all the fielders and the pitcher and everybody, they want to say something so bad. And I'm just tempting them to do it. But what I'm actually doing is I'm teaching them, you're not going to get every call. There's no sense in getting yourself all out of whack mentally because an umpire makes a bad call. The umpires are out there doing the best they can. but sometimes they're going to miss one. Just like us as coaches miss sometimes on sending a guy home and he gets thrown out by 20 feet, or a player makes an error. Everybody makes mistakes in baseball. It's a game of mistakes. It's a game of failure. And the guys who have the most poise and show the most aggression, when they're playing the game, are the ones that are going to win. And you got to teach that to your team. And lastly, prepare and expect to win. It took me a year in each program I took over, Palo and Camas, to teach winning, a winning attitude. When I was the assistant football coach at Camas, my first year I went up to the varsity in the fall of 2000. Bob Holman was the head coach, and he hadn't won. I think he won 2 games in the prior 3 years total. They had this losing record, and we were the doormat. Everybody wanted to play us for homecoming. But we spent so much time that first year I was up there teaching the guys how to become winners, mentally preparing them for hustle. We'd listen to Bo Schembechler tapes, just have the kids in the classroom and play Bo Schembechler, talking football back in the 60s and 70s. And we did all kinds of videos and inspirational stuff. And we did trust falls, and we went to camp, which was unprecedented before that, going to a place like out on the beach and getting like these how do you explain it? It's a bunch of cabins, and the kids stayed there for a week. And we all went up there as a team, and we did football stuff up there. But a lot of it, very little of it was football. A lot of it was just sort of togetherness and trusting each other, and just sort of becoming one. And so I just think it's so important in a situation that you teach winning attitudes. And you can do that. It doesn't look good the first couple years you're there, maybe. You might look at it and be like, oh my gosh, we're like last place and we've won 1 league game. But you don't look at the scoreboard to decide how your team is improving. You look at how they're playing the game, what skills they're building and developing, who has the right attitude. Sometimes, you got to put guys in there that have the right attitude, even though they might not be the best players, skill-wise. And that's just the coach's job. But I mean, it's a tough thing to do. But if you want to instill mental hustle, you got to police it too. Okay, if your best player, in fact, that leads me right to my next thing. Fair or foul. This is the segment we're going to talk about where I want to know what you think. I want to know what you'd do, because a lot of you have been put in this situation. And if you're a new coach, you're going to be put in this situation. Your best player flies out to left field. It's about 240, 250 fly ball out to medium left field, and he hits the bat down on the ground and just sort of jogs with his head down to first base. Well, the left fielder trips on the ground, uneven ground, and when he gets up, he can't find the ball. And so he finally figures it out, and the first base coach is like, run! And the guy runs from like halfway from home plate to first base. He starts actually running and thinks he's going to get to second easily, and the left fielder picks up the ball and throws to second base and gets him out by a step. What's the right thing to do? Hey, he's my best player, and he's probably going to hit a home run later in the game and probably going to drive in a couple runs, and he's my shortstop, and we don't really have a backup shortstop that's as good as him, and he might close the game on the mound tonight because he's the best arm for a closer. And so you just sort of look past it, and maybe have a talk with the kid. Hey, that's not acceptable. We hustle in this program, blah, blah, blah. Or do you sit him immediately and without even thinking about it? And you say, hey, Johnny, you're playing shortstop this inning. You'll be in the 3-hole hitting. Decisions like that are what really makes a coach. I've been in that situation several times. I remember one time my ace pitcher, I'm going to tell the story. I don't care. He'll know who he is, and the guys on that team will probably know who he is, but you guys won't know, so I won't say any names. My ace pitcher, we're practicing. We're doing run, stretch, throw. And this is my third year, third year at Camas High School. And we're playing catch lines. And I always walk through the guys during catch lines and, pat them on the back and say, hey, how was your day? How's everything going? Trying to, just interact with the kids. And I walk up to my number one pitcher, who is pitching the next day. He's scheduled to pitch the next day against the best team in the league. And he's got his lip sticking out to here. And he's got brown stuff in his lip. I said, hey, man, what do you got going on there? And he goes, oh, sorry, coach, I forgot to take it out. Well, at the time, we had a thing called an athletic code. And the athletic code says if you get busted with tobacco or alcohol or drugs, you have to sit. You have to sit. And I had a conundrum because he's my best pitcher, and I had to sit him. I had to report him to the athletic department, and I had to sit him. And everybody on the team was in shock that I did that. They couldn't believe it. And that was my third year. And we ended up going to the playoffs that year, I think. And the kid came back and he apologized to me. He said, gosh, I'm so sorry, coach. The last coach was, this and that or whatever. And I go, hey, it's not personal. It's just, I don't want everybody else to see you doing that and think it's okay. Because that's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build people that, work hard and do things the right way. And so what would you do? I'm interested to know. You can email me. My email's on my page or whatever. You can. It's a tough one, especially if you're a young coach. If you're an older coach and you got things settled, sometimes the superstars will try and prima donna you and sort of try to get away with some things. But for the most part, as an older coach, as a veteran coach, you can just that's the rule. I told you before the season, you didn't follow the rule. Here's the consequence. Okay, and some younger coaches or coaches that might not have as much talent, and that might be their guy, they might choose a different way of going about it, and hopefully it doesn't spread to the rest of the team. But I've found that just by holding them to the standards, the kids will comply. The kids like standards. They might tell you, oh, you have so many this and that. This is strict rules. You have to run everyone on the field and this and that. But they love it. They'll complain all day, but they love the structure. And when teams come together and play like a structured team with hustle, there's nothing like it. It's the best thing ever. Let's go down to the. Let me get my. Okay, this is going to age me a little bit. This is called reading glasses. Readers. I just want to go to the spotlight real quick. A couple guys, since we're talking about hustle today, a couple guys that come to mind for me. One from Camas and one from Palo Verde. And there's many more. Believe me, a lot of guys were hustle guys that I coached at Camas and Palo Verde. But one guy in particular was he was taking over for an all-state, all-league catcher. And he had to play JV his sophomore year and part of his junior year, I think. And he finally his senior year, he was like the guy. He was my catcher. And he was only 5'7". He weighed like $140, but he was tenacious. His name was Eric Nesta. And, he'd never proved himself on the varsity level at all. And he told me from day one, Coach, I'm your catcher, his senior year. This is my senior year. We're going to do this. And that guy was tough as nails. And he was my leadoff batter. He actually set the program record at Camas High School for hit by pitches in a season. The guy was amazing. He'd get right up on the plate. I don't care if the guy threw 95 miles an hour. He'd get right up on the plate and take it in the ribs. And he would just drop his bat, tip his hat to the pitcher, and sprint down to first base. It was a hard 90. That's what Eric Nesta was all about. And I just remember the kid was just nails. I mean, he was so tough at bat. His at-bats were so hard. He was always defensively ready to go any situation. He ran the bases like a banshee. I mean, he was all over the place. He was just hustle, hustle, hustle. And he was a leader of the dugout. He was the first guy to go up and if a guy, we had a guy at third base and a guy would fly out with less than 2 outs and not bring the run in or strike out and not bring the run in from third base. He was the first guy to go over to the mouth of that dugout and say, hey, that's all right, man. We got your back. We'll get you. Don't worry about it. Get it next time. Like he was just a positive influence in the dugout, just a true leader. And then here at Palo Verde, in our state championship team, there's a kid named Nate Bartlett. He was my leadoff batter. He played second base for me. We called him Bam Bam. He was about 5'6", about 170 pounds. He's a little thicker than Eric was. But, man, he's our leadoff batter. And he set the tempo at the state tournament in 2018. He fouled off. I think he had like a 17 or 18 pitch at bat to lead off the state tournament for us. And he just foul balls off, and the pitcher didn't know what to do. He was like, I can't throw anywhere past this guy. And he ended up having a big home run for us in the semifinals of the state tournament to right center field, which is totally Nate. That's Nate Dogg right there. But he just always hustled. He was always hustling. He was always thinking defensively. He's a super smart defensive player at second base. I told you before he stepped towards the center of the field before the last pitch of the state championship game and was right there to get a hard ground ball up the middle, touch the base, and throw to first for the state championship. But Nate Bartlett and Eric Nesta, two examples of exactly what you want to look for in hustle from players. The last thing I want to do is I want to tell you what's on deck for tomorrow. When you start a program, not only do you have to instill this stuff the first day, like hustle stuff, but you also have to build a family atmosphere. And that includes parents, community, and players. Now, in today's day and age with all the cell phones and stuff, and like kids aren't used to talking face to face or interacting with human beings because they got their face in that. What am I saying kids for? Most of you coaches probably do the same thing. Like you're right here with your phones. I try not to be, but yeah, I'm guilty. I'll look at my phone every once in a while. But I'm going to talk tomorrow a lot about family, and I'm going to talk about how you can really create a sense of that, and what I do with my parent meetings before the season to really get them bought in, and what I do in the community throughout the off season and during the season that have my kids just loving life. They love to give. They love to be a community member, and they buy in. And what that does, it gets you tougher in situations where games might get tight, and you know you can rely and trust the guy next to you. You know that guy's been through what you've been through, and you guys have each other's back. It's just been proven all year long. So that's sort of what tomorrow's episode is going to be about. If you could for me down at the bottom here, can you please click like and subscribe for me, and share this with as many coaches as you know, teachers. Hey, a lot of stuff I talked about today isn't just about coaching; it's about teaching too. You can totally talk about, be ready for, you have to have the kids ready all periods and stuff. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I mean it goes across the board. If you're a business person and you're out there working the sales, this stuff works, man. It all works. Being mentally tough as a salesman, are you kidding me? That puts you ahead of everybody else. Having physical hustle and mental hustle. So please go down and click the subscribe and the like button at the bottom for me. I really appreciate it. Leave comments down below. I get to every comment. I'll check every one of them. If you have any ideas that you want me to talk about during one of these episodes that you really want to know about, my thoughts on or whatever, put it in the comments below, and I'll look at those and get back to you. Man, it's been a great episode. I can't believe it went by so fast. It was a really long one. Sorry about that. But it needed to be talked about because the most important thing when you're trying to turn a program from a losing program into a contending program is having that edge mentally and physically with hustle. And I hope you learned something from today's episode. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys again. By the way, I'm starting to learn how to edit. So yeah, there's little funky stuff going on throughout the thing here what I've been trying to do. Just don't make fun of me about it, okay? I'm going to get better, I promise. All right, have a good one.